Hi, and welcome to Narc Abuse No More, where we're here to help you admit what you feel in order to heal from the effects of narcissistic abuse, because your feelings do matter. Here is your host, Dr. and Evangelist K.L. Rich.
Hi, and welcome to today's podcast of Narc Abuse No More, where we're here to help you admit what you feel in order to heal from the effects of narcissistic abuse, because your feelings do matter. Yes, they do. But before we go on with today's podcast, I would like to invite you to visit us on our website at www.narcabusenomore.org. Again, that website address is www.narcabusenomore.org. And on our website, you'll find valuable information regarding narcissism, relationships, and if you have missed any of these podcasts, all you have to do is go directly to our website and listen to us from there. Now, just to let you know, we're going to be having a few changes in our airing schedule. We normally have Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but now we're going to be having just Mondays and Wednesdays. I have so much on my plate and just started a new podcast called Veterans in Christ. And so I'm going to cut back a little bit, but we're going to be still coming on every Monday, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, and that is on various platforms. You can choose the one that fits your particular schedule and or preference. Again, you can always catch us online or go directly to our website at www.narcabusenomore.org. Also, just to let you know, our Veterans in Christ podcast is going to be now aired every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central on various platforms as Veterans in Christ, and then our It Is Finished End Times Ministries, where we bring you a word that you may not have heard as it relates to the Bible End Times, and that is aired every Wednesday, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, and then we have our Saturday morning prayers every Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. Central, or you can listen at the time of your choice. All right, what are we talking about today? We are talking about workplace toxicity. A toxic workplace. Have you all been at a job that was just so toxic that you just dread going there every single day because it was an unhealthy environment? And oftentimes people don't think about the workplace as being a toxic environment, as being a place where you can experience various types of abuse. Not as much physical, but then sometimes it can be physical too, but mostly the psychological abuse that is in a toxic work environment. And just like you don't want it in your home life, you don't want it in your work life either. And unless you're in the military where you are in this environment that you signed up for, you know, and even then, after you get out of boot camp and things, you know, it's a better environment from my personal experience of being a veteran. However, if you're not in the military, you want a place that is going to be a wholesome environment. And this is even with those in the military, but it's more where you are more, how would I put this? You more able to deal with the workplace, I'm going to say the demands of the workplace in the military because that's what you signed up for. So that's a little different. But when you're in the civilian aspect of it, when you're dealing in the civilian sector, you do not want to be in a place that is very toxic. It takes a toll on you. And when you're dealing with interactions, whether it's supervisors, managers, employees, it can become very negative if there is no intention, and you have to be intentional in having a good workplace environment. You might be in a place that's very competitive. You might have people that don't pull their weight. You might have people that just have a nasty attitude, and it's something that you might say, you know what, I can do without this. So we're gonna talk about rather to deal with it or rather to, just say, you know what, I need to get out while I can. So one of the things that causes, or that you're in a workplace toxic environment, is there's poor communication. Poor communication. And when you're not able to talk to your managers, your higher ups, when you're not able to talk and communicate with your coworkers, it can cause a toxic environment. And one thing I paid attention to when I was out there in the work sector, because I work for myself now, but when I was out there in the work sector, you want to pay attention to the turnover rate. Years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I used to be a nurse's aide, and I used to work at nursing homes. And you knew if you were at a good nursing home if it was hard to get in. What do I mean by that? There were certain nursing homes that you had to be top notch, or you would not get your foot in the door. And you could tell that those were good nursing homes because not anybody could work for them. You would go there and you would not hardly find anyone quitting. And what that meant, they were good to their workers. They had good benefits, and you knew that this was a place that if they were hiring, it was not going to be that often. So you knew that that was a good workplace environment. However, when you had, I noticed that nursing homes that I would apply for that had a high turnover rate, it was because of, first of all, the pay was not good. The workers were not appreciated by by the nurses, doctors, or higher, administrative staff. And then they were overworked, underpaid. There wasn't enough staff, so it caused it to be a high turnover rate. And then when you would go in, you would immediately, and this is not because of the residents themselves, and should I say, no fault to the residents themselves that were living in the nursing homes. But when you notice a smell as soon as you open the doors, then that let you know that it's possibly that the residents were not being changed enough by the staff. They were not getting their baths. You have to constantly, with regards to those that's in nursing homes, you have to constantly take care of those patients, or not. I'm not even calling patients; they're residents because that's where they live. The residents. So, and that's a whole different ball game there. I can go on and on when it comes to nursing home care. And let me just say this, because while we're on this topic, let me just say this. If you have a loved one that's in the nursing home, please go check on your people there. Please go check on your people. There were things that I saw in the work environment, and I'm sure it's still the same, where if you don't check on your people, they're not going to get the best quality care. Their baths, you need to make sure that their clothes are not being taken and put on other people. You need to make sure that the things that you buy is actually in that person's room and not being used by the staff. I mean, it was some things that I can go on and on, but we're not on that particular topic. But I do want to make mention, because I brought it up, is to make sure that you check on your people in the nursing home. Just because they're in the nursing home does not mean that you as their family should not be active in their quality of care. And I just want to say that. Now, when you're dealing with a toxic workplace environment, employees often feel like they're underappreciated. If you don't if you have managers or administrative staff that don't value their employees, the employees are going to feel as if you're taking them for granted. So you don't say thank you. You feel as if they're obligated to work overtime, and no one is obligated to work overtime. And as an employee, you have the right to say no. If you are being requested to work overtime and it's not working for you to be able to do that, you might have to go pick up your kids. You might have to do homework with them, cook for them, or it might be something else. And they want you to work overtime unless you have signed a contract that says it's mandatory overtime. You have the right to say no. But when you're in a toxic environment, that environment does not want you to have independence, or they don't want you to express yourself. So if you're a people pleaser, you will wind up showing those traits in on the workplace, at the workplace. And if you're not able to say no, employers will take advantage of you. You will often, if you're in a toxic workplace, you can also feel devalued. Where you feel like, I'm giving my all to this workplace. And this is like with any relationship. I'm giving my all to this relationship, this workplace environment, but they do not even show us appreciation. Those workplaces where you won't even get a turkey for Thanksgiving. I don't even know if a lot of workplaces do that anymore. But, if I was a boss over some other people in that sense, I would make sure that my employees knew that I valued them. You have these employees, these companies, Fortune 500 companies or whatever, and they don't even give their employees a turkey. They don't even give them a bonus. They don't even give them a gift card around the holidays or anything like that. And those things are important because it lets the employee know that, what, you are of value. So therefore, I love I love your work ethic. I love what you do. I want you to stay. I appreciate you. I want all my employees to stay. So therefore, I'm going to show you that I value you. This is with any relationship. If you don't say thank you, if you have a manager that's talking to you crazy any kind of way, they do not value you, nor do they respect you. And just because you are an employee does not mean that the employer have the right to treat you anyway, talk to you anyway, and devalue your service. Sometimes at the workplace, you can get bullied, you can get harassed. And these are managers that sometimes do the bullying and harassing because they feel like, I'm in a position of power. And we often talk about that when it comes to narcissists. They're in a position of power, so therefore they feel like they can bully anyone, they can take advantage of their position, they can misuse and abuse you, because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with narcissists that's at the workplace, they feel like in their mind that they're better than you, that they're self-entitled, that they can treat anybody anyway, and you have to take it because after all, they're the ones that's issuing your paycheck or have that influence to be able to either keep you on the job or dismiss you. So they take advantage of that. Again, you have to know your worth as with any other relationship. If you know that you're not being treated right on the job, then guess what? You may need to talk to someone in human resources if you feel that your job is worth keeping, or you can go to the classifieds and start looking and putting in your resumes so for other positions outside of that particular job, or if you can be transferred to a different department. It is important to have peace in all areas of your life as much as possible. As the Apostle Paul said, allow peace to exist as much as it depends on you. Now, you can't control what other people do. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you respond. You can control, instead of reacting, respond. And if there's a situation that happens on the job, try to be proactive. Talk to the human resources. Talk to your immediate manager. If it is your immediate manager, then you need to go above their head. If it's a co-worker, try to talk to the manager that's above them if you get nowhere with the co-worker. A workplace environment should be a place that you are not being abused. And if you are being abused, misused, insulted, mistreated, then that may be indicators that this is not the place for you, and you need to find another field to go in or another place to be able to operate in your field. All right. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about signs that you may be at a workplace environment that is very toxic, and we're going to talk about what to do about it. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Somewhere out there, beneath the pale moonlight, someone's thinking of me and loving me tonight.
Somewhere out there, someone saying a prayer that we'll find one another in that big somewhere out there. And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star.
And when the night wind starts to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we're sleeping underneath the same big sky. Somewhere out there, if love can see us through, then we'll be together somewhere out there, out where dreams come true.
I'm looking for my family.
And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star.
And when the night wind starts to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we're sleeping underneath the same big sky. Somewhere out there, if love can see us through, then we'll be together somewhere out there, out where dreams come true.
Somewhere Out There, and that is by James Ingram and Linda Ronstadt. All right, so we're still talking about the workplace environment and how there are some workplaces that are very, very toxic. So we're going to talk about some things that you may be experiencing if you are in a workplace environment that is toxic. Today's information is coming from leadershipinformation.com, the leadershipinformation.com. And we're going to go over, we may not get to all 18, but we're going to talk about as much as we can about some things that may be on your checklist of experiences that you may be having at a toxic workplace. Number one, you are afraid to voice your opinions to higher ups. When you're on the job, the managers, the HR, the administrative staff, they should make it known that they have an open door policy. That means that any type of harassment, any type of bullying, any type of environment that is making you uncomfortable, that you should be able to come to them and know that they will hear you, listen to you, and take into consideration what is going on and investigate to see if there's any legitimacy to the claim, the accusations, the allegations. So they should be willing to hear what is going on. And if you are at a workplace environment that you feel afraid to talk to the higher ups because you feel like they're not going to listen to you, or that person that you might be having the issue with is more senior than you, so therefore that you feel that they're not going to actually hear your complaint, then that might be a sign that you're at a toxic environment. I want to mention some things that was in a headline some years ago. Um, we've heard about Bill Cosby. What's his name? I can't think of the movie. Where it was with Oprah. Not her in particular, but it was someone that's Harvey something. I can't think his name, but there were people or women that felt that they were compromised, and these are allegations. They were compromised because of certain things that took place while they were trying to get certain parts, or they were made to feel as if they had to do certain things in order to get certain roles. And this has been alleged recently in the headlines with certain musical artists, and even allegations against some pastors that they were afraid to they were groomed in a sense, and they were afraid to speak out about it because of the repercussions that may have ensued should they had spoken out about it. Let me just say this: if you're in a workplace environment and you're being sexually harassed, you're being bullied, whatever type of harassment or abuse, because that is abuse, you need to talk to an attorney. I will advise that. Talk to an attorney. And if you're not able to get anywhere within that company by talking to managers, or you fear that, hey, they're not going to listen to me, or you have talked to them and they didn't listen to you, then I would advise talking to an attorney and getting some legal advice and asking them, what can you do about this situation? Because there are laws against sexual harassment. There are certain rights that you have as a employee, that if the place that you're working at is not adhering to the legal system and the way they're not handling things, then you may have to talk to someone and get some legal advice. Number 2, your boss micromanages you or others. Now, it is a boss's job, it is a manager's job, a leader's job, to make sure that everything is flowing correctly in their department. However, once you delegate duties to someone, you have to allow them to be able to perform their duties without them feeling as if you're standing over them and monitoring every little thing they do. That's the purpose of you being a boss, to say, you know what, I have hired a competent person, or I have trained them where they're able to flow on their own and do the job that I am paying them for. And if you have someone that is not allowing you to grow, not allowing you to be able to thrive in the job that you are to perform, then that may be a sign that you're in a toxic environment. Number 3, another thing, your boss watches you complete tasks or asks detailed questions about your process so they can jump on you and criticize you. So you have some bosses that you will never be able to please. They will always find a cloud in the sunniest of skies. If you are dealing with a boss that is always critical, then that may not be the workplace environment for you. Sometimes when you're dealing with, especially when you're dealing with narcissists, they always want to find something wrong with you. It's never turning the mirror on themselves, never looking at themselves, never assessing the situation to see where maybe it's something that they're doing themselves. They will always find something wrong with you. And the thing is that when you're dealing with a narcissistic type of boss or workplace environment, they will will always keep raising the bar. Why? Because it's never meant for you to meet it. So therefore, you will never be good enough. You will always be doubting yourself. And when you're when you're working in a toxic place, you will always be second guessing yourself and not confident in your own abilities to be able to perform the job, because you know that you will always be up under the scrutiny of that boss. And this is not someone that's trying to give you constructive criticism. I often tell you on here that there are two types of criticisms. You have constructive and destructive. Destructive tears you down. Constructive builds you up. And if you have a boss that's always criticizing, they never say, okay, well, this is the good things you did. Now let's get to these so that we can help to make you better at the job. If they're never offering both for us the support in order to help you be able to do a better job, then that is a toxic workplace. Number 4. You don't go to human resources to report issues because you are concerned you will be retaliated against. And this often gets into also the gaslighting. If you go to human resources, HR, and the HR does not listen to your concerns, the HR does not try to help you, but you become a scapegoat. You become the black sheep of the workplace. You become the target because you went and complained. Then that is an unhealthy environment. Also, if you're at a workplace that gaslights you to make you doubt your reality, they know that things are going on, but they try to make you feel as if it's all in your head, then you are in a toxic workplace, and that is not the place that you need to be in. Number 5, in team meetings with your boss, information only flows one way. So from the boss to you and the rest of the team. Now, when you're in a team, on a team, and you're working within that team. Team is not about one person, whether you're the leader, the boss, the manager, whatever. A team means this is a group effort, all right? So unless you're a dictator, a team means that I'm going to work together with everybody. Even though I'm the manager, I want to hear your input. I want to hear the other person's input. How can we make the team flow together? What suggestions can I use in order to help me to be a better boss? And if you're not willing to work along with your team, but you're dictating to the team, then guess what? You're not an effective boss. Information should not just flow one way. You also should receive feedback. Okay, feedback is important. It helps you as a leader, a manager, a boss to grow in your field, and it also encourages others that they can be confident that you're looking out for their best interests as well, and you value them as an employee. Number 6, sarcasm and side remarks occur more frequently than positive or supportive statements. If your boss is being sarcastic, your employees or your coworkers are sarcastic. They always have some kind of smart remark. It's not complimentary. It's always something negative. Then you're in a toxic workplace. It is so important that as leaders, bosses, and this is even in the church, because let me just say this, and y'all know I don't shy away from talking about the church. Some churches are some of the most toxic places that you can be in. And most of them, the toxic comes from the pastor and flows all the way down. If you are in a toxic church, you might be working at the church and you're being appreciated, you're being devalued, nothing is ever good enough. The pastor never says thank you. The people you're working alongside with, they're always complaining, griping, murmuring, and nothing is ever good enough. You may be in a toxic church. You may be in a toxic workplace. So again, this is not healthy. It doesn't do anything for your sense of self-worth, your self-esteem. And if you feel feel more drained from that job or that church or whatever you're participating in, then it may be time to reassess and reevaluate the situation. Number 7, people get promoted because they are related or friends with the leaders. Let me just say this, and if you're in a workplace environment and someone brings, for example, their nephew, and that nephew doesn't have any experience, this reminds me of something that's going on in the politics today. Okay, so it's pay for play or benefits. And let me just say this: if you're in a place that you have worked, you have done, you have done your part, you have done your contribution, you have worked hard in this environment, but someone brings a family member and put them ahead of you, and you know that you have really, really tried to work hard and done a good job and everything. Let me just say this: you might be in a toxic workplace, because no one should be promoted just because of relation when you're in the corporate world, when you're at a job. And this even again happens at churches where families are put in positions that they really have no business being in. And if it's just a family church, then you need to make it known that you will never move up in this church, because I'm only going to move in my family members. I'm not going to allow anyone else to be able to reach to the potential that God may have them, because it's all about me, my family, and not really about you. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment. I do apologize. I wrote down the wrong thing, so give me just a moment.
To know why I'm in love with you. Patient and strong, always, no matter what I face, you've been there to bring me through just fine. On time, it took a while to see that your love was true. Now no one can undo. I belong to you until the end of time. Good to know you're mine. And all I want to say till my dying day, I just wanna be close to you. Is where I wanna be, where I am when I'm with you. Perfect, yes, perfect is what you gave for all the world to see. Now no one can undo, 'cause I belong to you until the end of time. Good to know you're, and all I want I die. I just wanna be close to you. Come on, Stacey, follow me. Da-da. You say. Da-da. We know the truth, and no one can undo. They can't do, 'cause
wanna be close to you. Yeah, 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 yeah. How long will you stay? Hey. I just wanna be close to you.
And that is Close to You by BB and CC Winan. All right, so we're talking about toxic workplace environments. And it is important that if you're having to go on a job every day, you want to go to a place that you can feel like, hey, I'm comfortable here. This is a place that I'm going to possibly maybe be retiring at. This is a place that I want to be able to look forward to going to every day. Now, if you're going on a job and you're dreading going there because of the people that are there, then something is definitely wrong, and it might be something you need to talk to higher ups about, or you might need to be looking in a different direction. Another thing is leadership. Number 8, leadership encourages or tolerates offensive statements directed at employees. If you're a leader, a manager, or whatever, and you're supporting your employees being talked down to, then guess what? You're a bad leader. If you're supporting the abuse of someone, whether it's verbal abuse or else, you are a bad leader, and that creates a bad workplace environment. Number 9, new or different ideas are frowned upon and shut down. Everyone should be able to contribute their opinions. It doesn't mean that you're always going to take it, but you should be able to at least allow the employees to be able to express ideas, new concerns, invite critical criticism. As a leader, you should be able to handle that, or you have no business being in leadership. If you're not able to listen to what other people's have to offer, and you immediately shut down their ideals or frown upon it, then guess what? Something may be wrong. So, and what do I mean by that? It should always be where a leader asks, what can we do to make this place better? Are there any things that we need to address? Are there any concerns? Because as a leader, it should be, especially in the body of Christ, it should be that we're servant leaders. That means that I'm here to serve through my leading. Okay, so it doesn't mean that I talk down to anyone, that I disrespect anyone because I'm in leadership. We have to learn to be servant leaders. Number 10, you and others are kept in the dark about changes in strategy or direction. When you're at the workplace, and if there's going to be some changes that may affect you and or others in the workplace, then you need to be told about them. For example, if they decide, well, we're going to extend our hours, instead of closing at 5, then we're going to extend them to 8. Well, guess what? Everyone needs to be told about that in advance, because some people may have kids that they have to pick up, and so they can't flow with those hours. Or it might be some other reasons. These things that affect other people, they need to be told about it and not be kept in the dark. Number 11, when you ask questions, you are patronizingly told not to worry about it, and it doesn't affect you. If you're at a workplace and you hear some rumors, for example, that the workplace might be cutting back, or they might be getting ready to shut down in the next 18 months, or whatever case may be, and you go to a supervisor or HR or whatever, and they tell you, oh, don't worry about it, but they don't really address it, then guess what? You might not be in the healthiest environment, because what affects the higher ups often trickles down to those who may be employees. So these are things that need to be addressed. And if you're dealing with the workplace environment that would not share things with the employees as it pertains to possibly affecting them, their families, or the workplace environment themselves, then you may be in a toxic workplace. Number 12, temper tantrums. Verbal or physical aggressiveness is accepted. If you're at a workplace that people can throw fits because they don't get their way, or they act aggressively towards others, and this is okay in the workplace environment, then you're not at a healthy place and you need to possibly make some changes. There should never be any physical aggression, never any emotional aggression. If you feel like you got to throw a fit because you don't get your way, then you need to go home. This is not the environment for you. So if you're seeing people act like this and they're getting away with it, then that says something about the poor leadership of that particular work environment. Number 13, leaders or managers make derogatory, belittling statements to others. Again, when you're talking to someone, just because you're in a leadership position does not mean that you need to talk down to other people. The golden rule applies. Treat others as you would have them to treat you. So sometimes people get in positions and they forget that they were once the employee of or down at the bottom level themselves. Let me just say this. If you are a manager, you should treat everyone the same, okay, with dignity and respect. Whether it's a person that's in the lower mailroom, clerk room, or someone that's as a CEO, they should still all be treated with dignity and respect. The thing is that we should always treat others as we want to be treated. If you want to be respected, then guess what? Treat other people with that same respect that you want yourself. Another thing, when it comes to number 14, leaders blame their teammates when things go wrong, insisting that their failures are someone else's fault. As a leader, you're responsible for the success or the lack of for that particular group, department, or company. So if when things go well, then it's because of the team. When things don't go well, guess what? Leaders take responsibility for that as well. It's your job to train, to properly, to make sure that you have the proper people that are able to do the job correctly. And if you have not trained them or they're inefficient at their job, then that's your responsibility to make sure that you get the proper person in that position or train them the way that they should be trained. A leader that never takes accountability is not a good leader. As a leader, your team is responsible for the success, and then you're responsible for when it's not successful. So therefore, it falls back on the leadership. Let me see where my time is right now because I know we're running out of time. Okay, we're going to just do one more, and that is that I'm going to skip down to number 18. A worthy outward facing mission or vision statement is used to mask the greed or selfishness that motivates managers and leaders. So a worthy outward facing mission or vision statement is used to mask greed. Let me just say this. What do I mean by that? You have some people that are just greedy or they're selfish, but they'll say, oh, well, our motto is that we help all and bless all. Okay, but underneath they're greedy. Okay, and I like in the Bible in Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah 53. I don't have the verse in front of me. I stand to be corrected, but God called the shepherds greedy dogs. They never had enough. Okay, and so you have companies, you have managers and leaders that are like greedy dogs, as the Bible refers to the shepherds. They never get enough. So they'll take their mission statement and make you feel like they're the most compassionate company when and when it's actually on the contrary, that it's all about greed, and they can care less for their employees. It's all about the bottom dollar, the bottom line. When you have a company that's more concerned about the dollar than they are for their employees, then guess what? That's going to create an unhealthy workplace environment. Many companies right now are turning to AI because they don't value people. They don't value employees. Yes, you may have a computer that can do this and do that, but at the end of the day, people are what matter. All right. I pray that you all have been blessed today and that you will know your feelings do matter, and that is on and out of the workplace. If you are at a work environment and that environment does not appreciate and value you, it may be time to think about some other courses of action. We are about here. This is Dr. K.O. Rich, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday when we're going to have a guest co-host, and that is Brother Gilbert. Brother Gilbert, we're going to be talking about relationships, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Until next time.
We want to thank you for taking the time to join us today on Narc Abuse No More, where we're here to help you admit what you feel in order to heal from the effects of narcissistic abuse, because your feelings do matter. Until next time.